More on those protests in China because hundreds of police flooded the streets in Beijing and Shanghai, discouraging demonstrators from lingering. The Chinese government has also tightened its grip on the internet to keep would-be protesters from organizing further. Rebecca MacKinnon is with us now. She is the co-founder of Global Voices Online. This is an international community of bloggers who report from around the world. She is joining us now from Washington, D.C. Rebecca, thanks so much for being with us this morning. I want to talk first of all about this social media component because you say it's not just the Chinese government that is restricting internet access, it's also domestic Chinese companies as well?
Yes, that's right. Chinese internet censorship actually has several layers to it. And the top layer is what people like to call the Great Firewall. So if you're in China and you try to visit Facebook or Twitter, it's blocked unless you have special software to help you get around the blocks. But most of the censorship in China is actually being done by Chinese companies because since the external sites, many of them are blocked, most Chinese people are using social media sites run by Chinese companies inside China, and those companies are expected by the government to censor vast lists of keywords, to monitor certain kinds of conversation, and to deactivate accounts and to just delete content. So actually, a lot of the censorship in China is outsourced to the private sector.
Does the average person know or care that he or she has limited access, or they know but they just don't want to deal with the hassle of fighting it? And how is this different than China's upper middle class?
Well, the average internet user, it really varies. I think the more sophisticated ones know that there's some censorship going on. But I think unless you're fairly political, you might not notice the extent to which it's taking place. And people in China have lived their entire lives with a number of restrictions. So there's, a certain amount of people just resigned to the fact that there are restrictions as well. But most of the middle class, they're using the internet for entertainment, for business, and this kind of thing. Although now the censorship is getting so widespread. I mean, the word jasmine is blocked now. That's starting, I think, to cause more people to notice it.
Rebecca, a quick question about Facebook. I mean, would that ever become unblocked? We know Renren is very popular. Does the Chinese government feel more reassured about being able to control that source now?
I don't think the Chinese government would see any reassurance that they could control Facebook at this point, and I don't see any indication that they would unblock it unless Facebook were to agree to adhere to the Chinese government's censorship requirements, which means that anybody who starts a group in Facebook that is advocating things the Chinese government doesn't want, that would have to either be blocked to viewers in China or somehow is censored off, and so it's really hard to see how a global network could function as a global network and adhere to Chinese government censorship requirements.
A challenge for many companies out there. Rebecca, thanks very much.